Should do like the Disney Channel
Yeah.
thing where you draw it. I'm open.
I'm
open.
I'm open. Welcome to the I'm Open podcast with all of us again, with Ryan, Joe, Andrew, and Sam.
Woo, woo, woo.
How was New Zealand, Joe?
Oh, it was great. Not enough frisbee going on over there. And the frisbee that was going on in the US was not at ideal times for me. But other than that, it was beautiful. I saw some really great soccer. I saw Japan play really well. I saw the US play not very well. And yeah, New Zealand, pretty cool.
Oh yeah, nice.
That's our official pod review of New Zealand.
I was looking for pyramids so I could release some frisbee news, but I almost said frisbee nudes. So I could release some frisbee news, like Andrew always does, but I couldn't find any pyramids.
That's tough, man. Do they have? I guess they must not have any. Bummer.
I wasn't looking in the right places.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need a New Zealand architectural historian on the pod.
Yeah, let us know in the comments. Do they have pyramids there?
Well, anyway, back to what this is about. The championship weekend is set. All the teams are going. All the teams that are going because they all won, so they're going.
Well put, Sam. Well put. Before we get super into it, I'm super excited to talk about this. I'm running hot on a couple things. I have a couple thoughts. I'm curious to hear what y'all think. But before we talk, smash that like button, subscribe. We've been forgetting to say that. And if you're here, you like us talking about frisbee, it's the button's somewhere. So
should do the Disney Channel
thing
where you draw it.
Subscribe.
Yeah. That's a dated reference.
Subscribe.
Our fan
if
base
you got that reference. Subscribe.
Yeah. All right. Are we done plugging ourselves?
I think so.
Buy our merch.
We got. I'm never done plugging us.
Let's get into it. I'm going to start with our auction results update. Here we go. Quick refresher. We auctioned off all the teams, and some of us made dumb purchases and some of us made smart purchases. So,
yeah, you idiots.
The updates to the results are here. Obviously, New York, the Shred, the Wind Chill, and the Soul won. So that's Joe, me, Ryan, and me again. Most goals scored in Minnesota. The Wind Chill took the lead there, as expected. Fewest goals per game is still the Boston Glory. It seems like they probably have that in the bag. The New York Empire swooped in for goals per game because Ben Yacht scored 8 goals in addition to setting the record for receiving yards in a game.
Jesus Christ.
Which is pretty nuts. Total hockey assist leader is now Lotto, who has 9. But obviously he might have trouble holding on to that. Most blocks in a game is 13 still for the Aviators. One team had 12, and I forget which team it was. I'm going to assume it was in the Soul Hustle game. But
the Hustle probably.
Or no, it was no. It was the Cats. Which kind of crazy to get more blocks and lose, but that's the way it goes.
I think oh, never mind.
Oh.
I was just gonna say the Hustle I think also had more blocks and lost.
Oh, true.
But they didn't break that record.
And then Summit still have the worst completion percentage in the playoffs, and then Aviators now have most total goals allowed, which again will also change.
Do the Breeze now have the most Team Callahans?
Oh yes, I forgot to update that one. The Breeze have 1 Callahan.
That's That's not the only I don't think that's the only Callahan of the playoffs, is it?
It's the only one that I know of. There weren't any. There
Wait,
weren't
there
any
was
the first weekend.
I
there
thought
was
there was-
one Aviator Shred.
There
Shred
was
got
one in the AV.
Callahan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay. We'll
Yeah,
have to
it
do
was
that
the
later 'cause
bobble
I can't
by
put
Van
two games in
Jameson
there.
and then Shred.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All
Good
right.
call.
We'll
Yeah,
update that later.
Part of that skid, that like 3-point skid right in a row that just
Uh-huh.
deflated.
Well, nice. The Shredder are one of my teams.
Yeah.
So
We could also
thanks for
probably
calling
just
me
like
out.
pencil in Dole for drinking with us a championship weekend, right?
Well, I don't know. Everest is going to be holding it down for the Aviators, so we'll see.
That is true.
Mm.
Forgot
Hey,
about
look,
Mhm.
if
that.
if you want to send a representative from your team to, you know, we'll gladly accept anyone who wants to come and drink and try to, you know, add to that tally for your team.
That's true.
So
I
throwing
see you, Cam Brock. I see you.
that invitation's out there.
Yeah.
Cam, your wife and kids both count as alley cats too, so that's huge.
The kids can throw them back.
Mhm.
I was talking to Alex Davis. He said he might go, so the Flyers could have
Mm.
some people there. Yeah, any team could still take it.
Yeah, Flyers. I need you guys to give me some of my money back.
Yeah. So worst purchase so far, aside from the Empire, who are still going to make a bunch more money, is the Flyers, followed by the Summit. So
Yeet.
that's the way it
Whew.
goes. But Ryan's still
how
got
you
a
do it?
horse in the race. So you know what?
That's true.
We take that. All right. That's enough auction, I think.
Mhm.
Time to get into Ryan's lines, our other form of gambling. And I've got the results. I've got the updated standings. So I went 3-1
Man.
again. Ryan went 3-1 as well this week.
Wag.
Andrew went 2-2 again, and then Joe got unlucky this time with a 1-3.
Yep.
I'm so mediocre.
Yeah.
I would love to point out that I'm 3-5 despite making no picks so far this entire playoffs.
Yeah.
I just would like to point that out, that you guys can all wallow in your mediocrity, and I at least have the excuse because what I would have picked, I would be 8-0 right now.
Yeah.
No, you know what? You're right, Joe. They should actually have the Aviators go and replay the Summit with Nethercut and those guys. That's a great point, Joe.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, that's stupid. Wait a second. That's really dumb.
Oh man. I want to shout out Everest for getting us that cover right at the end. He scored that final goal, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he
To
did.
make
That
it a
was great.
3-point game. Yeah.
That was solid.
Hell yeah. I definitely stopped paying attention at that point. So
I was locked in on the cover. I was like, I knew exactly what it was. And I was like, come on, guys.
Yeah. I feel like in
I should have
in
paid more
AUDL
attention.
games, like the team that's losing always scores last, usually. Because teams don't spend that long like running clock. So I had hope near the end, and then our buddy came through.
Hell yeah.
But well, there's only 3 more games. So the most anyone can get is, well, the most you, Ryan, and Joe can get is 6 wins. So that's not great for you. Andrew can get 7 unless I
have to be
copy
perfect.
his picks. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to be perfect, and Sam, you have to blow it.
To not
completely.
game it. Yeah, I do want to like play it honest and not just like copy you so that you can't get a lead on me. But
Well, should I game it? So I'm always, because it doesn't make sense for me to pick the same as you, right? It's like I should do
you
the opposite of
probably
you.
should.
So we're both trying to game it. Or wait,
Yeah.
no, you're trying to get.
I
You want to
mean-
be the same as me.
Yeah. But I mean, I tend to pick first anyway, so I'm probably just gonna do that still just to
I mean, I'm not. I mean, I don't know. Whatever. I don't want to talk about my really stupid strategy on fucking Ryan's lines right now. So
Ryan's lines.
let's fucking move on.
Yeah. We only have 2 games to get through this week, so we'll see where that leaves us. But anyway, first let's dig more into these games that already happened. Do you guys want to just go in order? Do you want to talk about one in particular?
Let's go in
You can
order.
just go in order.
Yeah.
I think every game except for maybe one was like very noteworthy.
Was this
Like
the
this
game of
game
the
was
year?
This game was
Really
fucking
good.
insane.
Hustle Soul.
Yeah.
That's the game we're talking about, by the way.
Yeah.
Potentially game of the year so far. What do you guys think? This
I
game is
mean, it had
nuts.
like the coolest play. It had the coolest play I've seen all year, which was Matt Smith's greatest. Like literally,
Yeah.
I was like,
Mhm.
okay, this is getting
Mhm.
D'd, high flying acrobatic D, and then it's going out the back, and I'm like, wait, Matt Smith's gonna have a play on this. He got so high up and just it looks so cool. Like in the moment, I stood up out of my chair and was like, oh shit, and it was nuts. Yeah.
Okay, was Matt Smith's greatest better than Lucas Ambrose's greatest?
Yes.
You think
I
so?
think so.
I think so.
I think
I also
so.
think like the moment like that game, like this game was a 1 point. They ended up losing, similar to the in the Aviators one, but like just the moment it felt like every like hold, break, turn, like it was so important, and just to keep it alive there, like
Mhm.
look how close this game was. Like 13 turns each, 8 blocks each. This game went to double OT. Like it was neck and neck.
I have a question for you guys. Did the Hustle lose this game? In that, like, if Brett Holzmeyer had hauled that in, they would have won essentially, or did Kyle Hinkie win the game, or the Soul win the game on his like D in the end zone, and just generally like, coming through in the clutch in the end? Like, was it more like the Hustle blew it? Because if Brett Holzmeyer had caught it, they would have won, right? Essentially, they would have won in regulation. What do you guys think?
I don't want to put too much, emphasis on what happened in double overtime to say one team blew it or one team won it. Because I think there's an argument that that the Hustle blew it because of their play for the second, third, fourth, first overtime, and second overtime.
Yeah.
I think they didn't really play like they played for a lot of the season. I don't know. I think maybe it's just what happens when you play the Soul, but they were taking a lot of shots that weren't horrible, but just like weren't great ideas, and most of them weren't working. And like, to be fair, the Soul were also taking a lot of shots that also didn't work, and that's why they went down in that first quarter, because the Hustle started off pretty efficiently and the Soul didn't, and then the Hustle just like stopped making a lot of the like super efficient decisions that we've seen from them the whole season. And it seemed like they just kind of let the Soul back into the game. And like, to be fair, the Soul are a good team. And I know the last time I was on this pod, I said they were going to lose to Carolina because they weren't that good, or at least they hadn't shown me that they were good enough yet. And that was wrong. They're clearly a very solid team and are more than just like a component of very good players playing against horrible teams for the entire season. So I don't want to knock the Soul, but yeah, I don't know. It didn't seem like the same Hustle team that we've seen for most of the season. And the Soul played out of their minds. They played really, really well. They in the first quarter were like 88%, and they just turned it on after that first quarter, and they upped their completion to 96. So I don't know. But to answer your question, I want to say
Neither.
yeah, I want to say the Soul won it because that's nicer.
I think that's the right. I mean, it's a douchey ESPN like first take style question, because there's like so many events that happen throughout the course of a game. I mean,
the drop was impactful.
Brett's drop was not a gimme, and there were like, it wasn't just like wide open. It was a hammer that was like 30 plus yards, and there were defenders around him, and not an easy catch. And tons of other plays happened throughout the game, like you pointed out, Joe.
I can't believe that double overtime is first to score wins. That's like so dumb. It's like the NFL where if you score a
like the old
touchdown, you win,
yeah.
and the other people don't get a chance. Like that's so dumb.
Yeah. Well, that's how other like club frisbee, college frisbee, high school.
Sure.
That's how it works there. So.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Maybe
Yeah.
I should not say that and
But it
let
is dumb,
frisbee
and I
have its
like the
roots.
clock. I'll say I like the clock better.
I want them to
that's-
do like a college football double overtime where both teams get one shot at it.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be like easy in frisbee too, because
I know.
Yeah, that's just how the points work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you start at like midfield, or you just like have to work it
Yeah.
out.
You could even just pull it like one
Yeah,
pull. Each
yeah.
team pulls
Oh
once.
yeah.
If you break
Yeah.
the first one, you don't have to do it. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I like that idea.
Yeah, I think
So
there's
yeah,
definitely
I don't know.
there's probably room for change of rules in double OT. I mean, one interesting is I'm pretty sure Atlanta got the disc and
Yeah, they did.
got broken in double OT.
Yeah, they did. They turned it, they got it back, and then they turned it again.
Yeah. And we talked about Brett's drop, but we got to talk about Austin Taylor's decision making at the end. Like that throw that Kyle Henke did was not open. Like it was clearly not open. I think he was just trying to force it. And I think we all kind of like make mistakes like that as throwers. And just noticing it like in the fourth quarter and the first OT and double OT, like both teams like lacked their fundamentals, and I think it was because of defensive urgency, and like it forced more uncommon things to happen, like turns, hucks, deeps, D's, and stuff like that. And from an outside perspective, it looked like both teams just like couldn't get it done. Like Duncan Fitzgerald high blade around, that was a turn. I was like, what kind of throw is that? But it's just like high stall, anything can happen.
I mean, you got to imagine the like fatigue setting in towards the end of that game.
For sure.
And yeah, like I think a lot of the turns for both teams were uncharacteristic. Like towards the end, it was a lot of turnovers towards the end. But
yeah, Evans had a turnover too that just looked like he didn't know what the receiver was doing, and a little bit of miscommunication, and it was just like out of his hands, and you're just like, oh no, why'd you throw that?
Yeah, I think it was like fatigue was definitely setting in. That was a big factor. I do want to say though, like just talking about Austin Taylor, like throughout most of the game, he's one of my favorite like handlers to watch. Like if you just zone in on him during a point, like just the way that he just kind of positions himself is so good, and he like always gets open when he needs to. Like, and he's for a handler cutting. Like if you're like a young handler trying to figure things out, or like you want a player to watch, like I would watch him because he's like so aggressive. But he like times it out perfectly. Like he'll be standing still, or like he'll kind of push up, get in the spot that he wants to, and then make the exact cut that he needs to at the right time, and like gets the disc every other pretty much. Like super fun handler to watch. So yeah, I don't know. I don't want to like harp too much on like, I think everyone's decision making was getting a little rough towards the end, but like and then the last thought that I had is doesn't it feel like Kyle Henke makes like a play every single fucking game?
Yeah,
like
he's
like
insane.
a highlight level
Yeah.
Sports Center top 10 type of play.
Yeah.
Like all the time. His whole career he's kind of been doing that,
Yeah. He's really good at frisbee.
He's
very
insane, man. Like he has that play that was like on Sports Center like years ago of the greatest. Yeah, like the dude is just like out of his mind. Like he's a magician, man. It's crazy. Really fun to watch.
I also want to shout out the Souls defense because in the first half they caused 3 hustle turnovers in the red zone. Yeah.
Yeah,
in the
that
first
number
half,
is
and
crazy.
then 3 more in the second half. They were 5 for 8 in the first half in the red zone.
Wow.
That's nuts. That's kind of what I was like seeing in the Carolina game. Like they were right there on every play, and like once the field condenses like that, they just fly around getting blocks.
I know. Also, like the hustle were either first or second in hold percentage for the season. So causing like 67% in that red zone is crazy.
Yeah, definitely.
And kind of harping on like I think the turns feel a lot more monumental, especially because like I think most of them happened towards the end, and it like the stakes were higher. but like 13 turnovers each for a team
I know.
is like really low for the AUDL. Like that's really that surprised me to see that. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
very tight, like
Including, yeah.
really tight game.
I feel like we've been seeing that trend kind of like happen in these playoffs. Like just the turnovers go way down.
Definitely.
I mean, we could talk about Empire when we get there. Like that's an insane amount of turnovers.
Yeah. Anything else on this game?
No,
Congrats to the Soul. That's a new team at
Yeah.
championship weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, highly recommend. Like if you're a fan of the AUDL, like and you've got AUDL.tv, go watch this game. Like from start to finish, it was a nail biter.
Yeah. If you haven't already.
Sure.
Well, it's
Yeah,
not
sure.
going to be a
If
nail
you
biter
have,
now.
rewatch it. Rewatch it if you already have.
Yeah. Spoiler.
Watch it
like,
again.
Forget everything we just said and watch it.
Yeah, think for yourself.
Well, I was saying more in the point of like now you know exactly what happens.
Leave a comment if you've watched this game either in the past or in the future.
Dude,
Were
we
you
gotta stop
biting your nails?
We gotta stop spoiling the ending of these games, bro.
Yeah.
These people watching are going to want to rewatch these games, man.
All right.
Gotta
Next game,
consider it.
spoiler. Shred beat the Aviators 23-20.
Yep. An end
Tough.
of a magical run.
Tough one for the team of destiny here.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
great
we got on
showing,
this?
I thought, by the Aviators. They lost by
yeah.
3, and there was really only one stretch when they kind of let up like 2 breaks in a row. Like they got the Shred held and they're like down 2 breaks, and like then you throw in like end of quarter stuff, which I think there was one that I thought Everest was gonna come down with, and then Joel Cullen's a pretty big fucking dude. Like that's tough to do. But I mean, again, looking at these turnovers, like we said, 13's low. The Aviators only had 14, and the Shred were in single digits with 9. Both teams really, I thought, elevated for a playoff atmosphere, and the Shred are just better. But I think the Aviators put up like a really admirable fight here.
Yeah. Certainly shout out to the Aviators O-line defense, because they held like a pretty good Salt Lake D-line offense to 4 out of 10 for their D-line conversion. They got Everest specifically had 2 blocks during 1 point. But they got the disc back. I mean, a point in which Salt Lake did end up scoring, but still 2 blocks and 1 point, pretty good. But yeah, no, they got the disc back after a lot of their turnovers, which I thought was really impressive. And yeah, I mean, it was neck and neck until a call doesn't go their way, and then another call doesn't go their way, and then they throw a count hand.
Joe, can I interrupt you for a moment? I'm seeing a 1 assist, 4 goals, 2 blocks for Everest, a plus minus of 6, and no throwaways, no drops, but 1 stall.
Oh my God! Do stalls count for plus minus? Did they listen to me?
Can I also chime in, because if you look up at the O-line conversion, it says they're 18 for 32, and I don't think they had 32 O-line chances, or is an O-line conversion different? Is that every time they had the disc on offense?
Yeah, I think 18 for 25. The hold percentage is for the points.
So 32 is the offensive possessions they had.
Yeah,
I guess it must be.
Wow, so the Aviators defense forced 0 turnovers.
That's what I was gonna say. I was looking at the Salt Lake turnover numbers, and I was like, "Wow, tough to win a game when it's 9." And then I was like, "How many of those turnovers were Salt Lake's O line?" And it's like tough. Not a lot.
Oh, they forced.
No,
I see.
They went 2 for 3 on.
I guess some quarter endings. So they forced 4, and then okay, so that's actually good because they didn't lose the disc. I confused myself.
I just confused myself.
Yeah, that's still not that many, but I guess it's good that they at least didn't give it back once they got it. But anyway, it appears that stalls affect plus minus.
Wow, that's crazy.
They just did that quietly.
Everything.
They quietly. Also, didn't he have a drop on the point that he got a block? Like I remember seeing him get a block and being like, oh, he just doinked it, or maybe he didn't.
The doink was a really hard catch. They may have decided that was a throwaway.
Okay.
Also, that stall probably should not have been a stall.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a 6-second stall.
Yeah.
So one kind of key play that I'm thinking about that I want to get y'all's thoughts on was the like Mitchell Steiner block where it kind of looked like a tie. He seemed convinced that he got to it first, and it resulted in a goal, right?
And a kicked chair.
And a kicked chair. What
Got height
Great
on
kick.
that.
Great
I
kick.
was so impressed by the kick.
Yeah, the kick was majestic. Do you guys think that Steiner got there first?
Probably.
I don't know. I think probably, but like not enough for whoever the offensive player was to like reverse it. Because he was asking for an integrity call, and there's just like no way the offensive player knows that he ripped it out of Steiner's hands.
Mm-hmm.
In the AUDL, does the tie go to the offense?
Yeah.
So from just sitting at home, it looked like a tie, kind of, but also like just his reaction after and then kicking the chair. And then he was on Twitter after the game doubling down, and that kind of makes me be like, well, I'm just watching at home and I see what I see, but like I feel like if you're actually in the play, that's the best like perspective that you can have.
Yeah, there was
weird.
a
I thought there
So
was
I kinda
some
wanna
great
give-
angles.
Yeah, I want to give Steiner the benefit of the doubt, but it looked like virtually a tie from.
there
just
was a
at home.
breakdown on Twitter where it was like frame for frame, like super blurry, right? Like there was one frame that Steiner was talking about where like, okay, if I looked at this, I'm like, oh yeah, I think his hand got there first. But it's like looking back in the moment, like you're asking a shred player to make a judgment call that was literally bang bang.
Right,
I
like
don't
yeah, a
I don't
fraction of a
fault him.
second.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
fault him for thinking I caught this disc and it's in my hands. Why do I not get a goal here? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I do want to God, when we get to Minnesota, I'm gonna lay into someone there.
Yeah. Anything else on this game? I mean, I think this is a good time to like think about the Aviators' whole season. Like they really kind of found their they hit their stride towards the end, and I don't think they would have played as complete of a game earlier in the season. And just the fact that they were in this game in the first place, I think from kind of where we were at after their first few games, I don't know if I would have been. I don't think any of us would have thought they would have been here in the first place. So they came a long way, and I think there's a lot to be positive about looking on to next year. They'll be there. They who knows what'll happen. I mean, Ryan, you probably disagree. You're a Summit guy, but they'll be there for the next, at least next year. Like they're set up nicely, I think.
No, I don't disagree. I think the style of offense that they've transitioned to kind of like mid-season really suits well for high-level frisbee in the AUDL. And if they can sustain that, then they're going to be top 3 in the Western Division for the next year or so. I do think Shred are also just going to kind of be the top. And then whether or not the Summit have that vengeance of like, what the fuck, we just won this league and we didn't even make it to the Western Championship. We got to come back. We got to get all our guys. We got to really like zone in. Like if they can do that, then I think they have the potential to be just right up there with the Shred. And then the Spiders, like I think the West Division is the most fun division because it's really 4 teams that there's maybe the Shred that are the best, but like the other 3 are like really like right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and Oakland is young. They're
Oakland is
just gonna
young.
keep getting better.
It's crazy how young they like. Keenan Lawrence is 24 and he's been in the league for like 5 years.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
So, yeah.
The West is going to continue to be a bloodbath, but
Yeah.
I think the Aviators there's a proof of concept for the Aviators being competitive in this division.
For sure.
Definitely.
All right. On to the Central, where the Wind Chill advanced to host championship weekend. Who's coming in hot? Ryan, you coming in hot?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who it was, whose name. It's all over Twitter. I hope you've seen it, but there was a play where you watch this video and the disc clearly bounces off the ground, and the guy just like it bounces off the ground and then into his hand and he catches it and they play on. And some guy on Indy was just like going off on Twitter, was like, how do you not call integrity here? Or how do you let this go? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like stuff like that is when I have an issue with Frisbee, because these refs are just like they're not trained super well to catch everything, and that's why the integrity rule is there. And I think I made a joke about it on Twitter today with Cody Spicer, but like Cody Spicer is the type of guy that like he plays by the rules every second, and like there's two things that come off like right away. There was one where ref called the guy out, and literally immediately Cody goes, no, 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 his foot was in, he's in, let's go, and the play keeps going. And then there was another one when Cody traveled and Pavel was guarding him, and he called the travel on himself. I don't think anyone else in the league has done that. Like that's
I've
crazy.
Never heard of
And,
that.
and then like he goes 10 feet back and he's making a pivot, and then he gets fouled by Pavel, and then Pavel calls a integrity foul on himself. And I was like, that right there is sportsmanship, like respect. Like that's what I want out of these players, not teams that are not people that are like actively trying to cheat. Like when you know the disc is down and it's clearly down, that's actively cheating.
I agree with you to an extent. I think they have refs for a reason. I think it's a lot. I think it's different to say, like, see somebody make a nice catch and be like, oh, that's the other team. I'm going to take it away from them. That feels like a lot. That feels like that's asking someone to I don't know. I don't know how to say it. Somebody being like, oh, I just saw you make this catch. You were obviously in, you were called out. I'm going to take it anyway. Feels a lot worse to me than catching it after it just hits the ground and continuing with it because the ref said it was your disc, like, I don't know, calling a travel on yourself is pretty crazy. I don't know. I think integrity is good. And I think a lot of times I see integrity calls, I think it's great. Honestly, every time I see an integrity call, I think it's great. But I don't want to be reliant on the integrity call to get the calls right. I want the refs to be better in the first place. And I don't want to have to be mad at players for not calling it. Some players are nice, some players are dicks, but like every player wants to win. And if it like, maybe he didn't know it like hit the ground, or maybe he was like, oh, it skimmed the ground. I don't know if my hand was under it or not. I mean, it was pretty clear that it hit the ground, but like thinking back to my Frisbee experience in college, there was like a lot of times where there were discs where I thought I was in, but I wasn't like 100% sure. And I would have just called myself in because I thought I might have been in, or like I thought I caught the disc before it hit the ground, but like I honestly didn't really know. So I don't know. I think like banking on integrity calls is just make the right call, ref. AUDL, train the refs better to see that. Have more refs.
My one, I think, okay, having more refs, I think that would potentially have solved that. Like maybe there wasn't a ref that had the right angle to like actually make that call. I don't know how much training it would take to like, I mean, it skimmed off the ground, that's not like I haven't
that's for sure
been trained enough. But no, like you make a really good point. Like I am so glad that like any of my Frisbee games haven't been filmed and then people can take something from that game and then start a discourse on Twitter on some play that I was in, like that's tough. It's tough to like just have everything out there, and I like to think that I would make integrity calls, but like I don't know that I would all the time. Like you want to win, like it's easy for me to sit here and think that I would, and I like to think that I would, but like in the moment, it's kind of tough. But I mean that shit was like skimming on the ground. Like it was pretty
Yeah,
egregious. It
yeah,
was
and
pretty
also,
egregious.
yeah, and also, like, I was thinking about it a little more, and like a disc hitting the ground is like not a lot to ask a player for integrity compared to like a foul, where like you
If it's
both go
something
up for it and you
close,
hit somebody, and you're not going to call that foul because you think you're entitled to your space. But I guess if
like
it
the
hits the
Mitchell Steiner,
ground,
like the Mitchell
yeah,
Steiner play versus like this hit the okay, yeah. Like there's plays where it's like
yeah,
the foul rules are up to interpretate. There's
yeah,
it's just bodies are flying around. It's not always cut and dry, and so maybe there's a gray area. There's no gray area here.
yeah.
Like,
No,
it
I
was
hear
down.
you.
You know what
I
I
hear
mean?
you. Hmm.
But I'm not like super hot on it because I'm like, dude, like if that happened to me, like yeah, maybe I would have just gone along with it. I don't know that I would have taken the high road. I like to think that I would, but like maybe I wouldn't.
Mhm. Yeah.
But I don't
Last
know.
time, I think last time we talked about the integrity rule, I said something along the lines of I like when people don't call it. And I think that what I was thinking of in that scenario was more like the, Steiner thing, or like a foul in the air where there's two people there and like
Hmm.
you're both jumping in the air. Nobody knows who did what.
Yeah.
So like stuff like that, unless it's like excessive, obviously, I don't like people asking for integrity or anything like that. If you want to call it, fine, whatever. But yeah, I align with Ryan on this particular play just because it looked like from the video like he would probably be able to tell that he didn't catch that. Uh, and I don't know. I don't think that's. I think something that cut and dry. Like, come on,
Yeah,
man.
I think
It
I've come
looks
around
like
a little bit more to this
it looks like he
conversation.
one hopped it like a first baseman catching like a ball. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Impressive catch.
yeah, impressive way to hold on to it. I think we
Yeah.
were talking about refs earlier. Like that throw was so low and like the way the disc was angled, like there's a good chance the ref was kind of like behind it or in front of it in a spot where like, it was going so fast he couldn't. He's moving. He's running. He couldn't
Yeah.
really see. But the person who had the best angle is probably the guy who's going to catch it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
We need challenges next season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. I mean, I don't know if the replay is good enough to like
No, it's not.
facilitate
You're just
that.
gonna lose a timeout every time.
Yeah. The other thing I think I'll leave this on is that like similar to what we were saying in Atlanta, Seoul, like that wasn't I'm just looking at like the numbers here for the Alley Cats, like over the course of the whole game, there's a lot of other things they could have done differently to make up the margin. And even if they had gotten the call, would they have punched it in? Okay, let's say they do. Like I don't know if that makes the difference in the game.
Yeah,
Either
It's a
way.
3-point win.
Yeah. So
And also like we were talking about turnovers, like Aviators who we thought like, oh, they lost to the Shred by 3 or so, had 14 turns. I mean, the Cats had 21 here. Like that's almost like that's 30% more.
that's
Yeah.
not
and also a big shout out to the Wind Chills defense. I think their defense looked really good, especially in the air. Like when anybody would go deep, I mean they were 5 for 10 on their hucks. It seemed like Minnesota's defense could just read when that huck was coming, and they would just send two people every time, and they just read it really well.
yeah.
I want to congrats to the Winchell obviously for making it, but I don't
first
like.
timer.
Yeah, I don't like this
And the Shred.
number. Once again, the red zone conversion percentage. I think I called that out in our last episode in like our preview because they were like bottom 6 or something like that in the league, and that's just not what you want to see heading into championship weekend against like the Shred who had 9 turnovers and the Empire who had 4. So
They had more
6
turns
in the red zone. Yeah,
They
that's
had more in the red zone than the Empire had in the entire game.
that's not what you want to see.
I also don't love getting 10 blocks and the Alley Cats having 21 turnovers and there being 4 breaks.
Yeah. not really valuing those, not earning the turnovers necessarily, and then not converting them either. That's not great.
Yeah.
But congrats to Minnesota.
Hey, they'll be
They
there.
did it.
Hey, shout out Cam Brock leading the team and leading the game in plus minus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see if is he gonna retire. Has he said that? I
No,
don't
his
think he has.
season's
I
already
don't
started.
think so.
I talked to him about it. I texted him after the game the day after. I was like, next season starts today, and he's like, you already know it.
Of course.
Brant
Maybe
Brant
that
gave a
means he's
good.
maybe he's coaching.
Um,
I'm joking.
No, he's locked in. I think he thinks his team is kind of on the up and up. So
Oh yeah,
he's
they're
ready.
super young too.
Hey, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. Anything else?
Yeah.
Any closing central thoughts?
Any fun stats here? Anyone get super negative
Who got
yards?
stalled?
No.
No
Oh wait, I
stalls.
want to see who had the Callahan in the shred game. I forget who
Oh yeah.
scored it.
Probably Jorgensen.
Not a
Mongo.
Jorgensen.
Statistically.
Yeah, yeah, that's the best guess for sure. All right.
Mongo.
Well, let's move
Okay.
on to the
Oh,
big
Can the
one.
DC fans please sit down?
Sit down. I was at this one. I guess I went to 2 of 3 matchups this season between these teams. And I feel like the way Joe and I talked about after also, okay, come on. This is hilarious that the Breeze went 0 for 1 on D-line conversion in an entire game. But anyway, I feel like the way that Joe and I were talking about this game, about the first game, was like we kind of thought something more like this could happen if like bounces go the Empire way. And then I think we saw like a game where everything was going right for the Empire, even though they lost like 2 really important O-line players. And I don't know. I was talking to some of the like coaches and players after the game. I think maybe that helped them like, focus in and like maybe be conservative unless they're throwing a Benyat and that sort of thing. But I mean, what else can you say? They had 4 turnovers in an entire game.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy.
yeah.
I mean, shout out DC for only having 10. I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's
Actually-
fair.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. 0 for 21. Break percentage, 0 for 1 D line. Oh boy.
Yeah.
You don't love that.
Mm-mm.
Wait, why are they 0 for 21 when they got a Callahan?
Good
Yeah,
question.
that's what I'm wondering. Because that was a D point.
Oh yeah, I guess they
Well, yeah, it's a Callahan.
scored it wrong.
Huh.
Yeah. I mean, I have some thoughts. I mean, it never, like, we've seen DC play Empire close this year. Sam, you were at both of those games, the first DC Empire game and then this one.
And then the playoff one, yeah.
I mean, did anything really change? I mean, Babbitt wasn't there, but like Babbitt was a huge factor in that first Empire game. But like, I don't know what changed, but it looked like we were seeing teams that were on different tiers playing against each other. And like we
Well-
literally have them on different tiers, but like it felt like they were a lot more evenly matched in that first one. And then this one, it was just like it felt like DC just like was playing catch up the whole time, and then it fell apart for them.
DC was kind of playing catch up the whole time in the other game. They just ended up making that full comeback. And then
Right.
I think our criticisms of DC all season, and especially after that game where we said they didn't have a play when they needed one. They had a chance with 30 seconds left to try to win that game. They got stuck on the goal line, and then Ben Urt put up like a terrible huck. And then in overtime, their play was let's go deep to Rowan and let's just not even look where Babbitt is. And it just felt like they didn't know what to do. They didn't have the play. They didn't have the offensive set that was going to, cut through this Empire defense. It just looked like they were reacting to what the Empire were going to do. And they didn't have any plan other than that. And I think that's kind of what it looked like in both games.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, maybe the Empires had a bad game in the first one. They had a good game in this one, but I don't know.
I
mean-
like one of the like moments of this game that comes to mind, and I forget exactly when it was. I think it might have been it was an end of quarter thing, might have been the end of the second quarter, but like DC got a turn and they were like in the red zone, and they call timeout, and then they reset it, and then Johnny tries to like throw a reset to A Roy or Box or somebody, and it's just like it's not there. He couldn't get around the mark, and then it was just boom, Benyat, Marquez take off, one throw goal, and Empire up 2 at half. Like in that first game, that would have been when like DC punches in, and then things are a little tighter going into half, and then that kind of recontextualizes the rest of the game. But yeah, it was just like all those like 50-50 plays were just like the Empire were jumping on them.
Yeah. I think it's easy to be critical on DC when like New York really, I mean, their defense is really world class. Like it's probably really fucking hard to get open and like
Absolutely.
to have your stuff work against them. That said, like I think DC kind of like there's a clear like philosophy that they're trying to go for, which is like possession oriented. High percentage looks. And I think they did it in like the Breeze and Truck last year. I think we're a lot more successful with it, or it felt like it was working a little bit more. And then this year it felt like they just it didn't work all the time, and sometimes it kind of broke down and maybe got a little predictable, but then they just kind of doubled down on this like let's just and like relying on the creativity and the chemistry of their handlers and working things in really small spaces and like kind of not using like all their threats on offense and not using the whole field, and kind of just insisting on this small ball thing, and then like still putting up hucks, but they just weren't really there, or like a lot of them were just kind of bailouts. And it's like just this emphasis on possession, but then like just not really having like a solid deep game. And then that juxtaposed with like they had nothing for Benyat. Like there was no answer for that. They couldn't guard him.
He's there.
They were hit there. I don't know what the answer would be, but it also, I remember like towards the end of the game watching them on defense, and I'm like, they're just playing straight person right now. Like that's what they're doing. And it wasn't working. And I don't know what you can do. And maybe if you try some things and it doesn't work, then just play person and just hope you get something. Maybe that's what it kind of came to. But I don't know. It just felt like they had a philosophy that they just kind of doubled down on, and it just got to a point where it was like, well, what else do you guys have? Can you try this or that? And it just, it would have been nice to see them figure out a way to spread the field more. And they have these really athletic cutters that it felt like they were underutilizing. So,
I totally agree.
That's my rant. But then at the end of it all, it's the fucking Empire. So
I know.
What are you gonna do?
They
turned it over 4 times.
Yeah, I think my criticisms of them are season long as opposed to this game specifically. But I think I agree. I think they're very good at possession ball, but when it doesn't gain them a lot of yards, they're so focused on possession that they stopped being very good at hucks. And it started from the start of the season. Like 3 games in, they were last in the league in hucks, and it didn't rise a lot higher than that. They were never like anywhere close to touching, one of the top teams in huck percentage. And yeah, it really felt like that was such a missed opportunity when you have so many good cutters. But yeah, I mean, I think Rowan starting D-line for the first half, 2/3 of the season, coming to O-line probably didn't help. Had they been playing together for the whole season, I'm sure that would have been better. Yeah. But it seems like their handlers were very good at, I don't know, they were very good at finding the close high percentage throw, but it never really felt like there were 3 handlers who were all in motion together and making it really difficult for the defense to guard the 3 of them, which caused openings higher up. It kind of just seemed like they were really good at arounds or like getting that short throw like into the stack. and they were good at like not turning it over on those like tiny throws, but then they weren't causing chaos, they weren't causing confusion, and then it led to them just not being very good at the, high risk, high reward throws.
Is it just me, or like does a lot of their like higher percentage throws, didn't it feel like the handler was like kind of stranded a little bit for some of it, and then a lot of them were
Yeah.
like late stall throws? And
Yeah,
it's like,
lots of,
it felt like
weird
Aroy
blades and
at stall
Yeah.
6 throwing it around 2 defenders to somebody open.
is it like, okay, maybe it's a higher percentage, but like maybe take a slightly lower, but like move it earlier in the stall count? Like, isn't that kind of
Yeah.
I don't know, it's
Yeah.
easier. Like I'm an armchair, like, frisbee
Fair.
analyst right now,
Fair.
and I will say I don't know shit, honestly. Like I put my full trust in, like, the coaching, all the coaches at DC and all the players. Like they know better than me. I'm not going to say that I know better than them, but just like just as a third party kind of watching last year and this year, having just the way it looks, it just doesn't seem like it's the answer. Like, I get the philosophy and you don't want to turn it over, but it just doesn't feel like the answer. And then, like, they have similar Huck numbers as the Empire, but it felt like the Empire Hucks were like designed.
Oh,
Well, no,
just like volume.
Similar
Yeah.
volume, similar volume, but then the success rate is so different, and it's because like those Hucks weren't. I don't think most of them meant to be like, oh, let's Huck it now. It's like, oh fuck, oh god, all right, fuck it. Like, okay, Rowan's down there somewhere, like Box is down there somewhere. It's not like part of their offense. It's like a last resort kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know.
I think that hug percentage on the Empire a lot when you're hucking it to Ben. Like, if I was as tall and as fast as Ben Yacht, all I need to do is take one step under, make my guy turn his hips and bite, and then that's 5 steps. Plus, I'm fast and tall. Like, those are hard to guard. Like, that's why, like, 12 or 13, like, they didn't really go deep that often, but when they did, it was because Ben Yacht's got steps and he's giant. So I think the Empire is just stacked with talent.
And DC was playing person, so there was never really a threat of having 2 defenders back there against Ben.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of crazy watching the Empire play defense compared to any other team, like even DC, who's amazing. Like, it feels like the Empire is just like 7 little robots who are operating by the same brain. They just float around, like one of them vacates the space, one of them fills it, and they just know what each little piece is doing. It's wild. And they just it's like everything you learn when you learn how to play defense, they're just like not doing that. They're just playing defense better.
Yeah.
It's honestly pretty crazy how many times I've seen like either JR or Ben Katz like fill the zone in front of where the person is trying to throw, and that throw still goes off and they jump and they smack it out of the air. Like, that's just not a D I've seen any other team make more than like once or twice, and I've seen both of them probably do it like 3 times.
Ben Katz is like my most favorite player to watch in the league right now, because he's kind of got, like, this is gonna be a weird analogy, but he's kind of got the Steph Curry effect, where like I can see myself in Ben Katz. I'm not as tall as Ben Yacht. I'm not as fast or can throw as well.
Steph Curry is
Ryan
6'3",
but like.
Comparatively,
yeah, but I'm not saying I'm Steph Curry. I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? Like, people couldn't imagine they could be LeBron because you can't do the athletic things that LeBron could do, but like anyone can shoot like Steph Curry. I think anyone can be a defensive mind and a defensive player that Ben Katz brings, and all you need to do is watch him and study him like you'd study a test for school. Like, just I kind of want to interview Ben Katz now, because he's one of the most interesting players in the league.
I think he's a genius. I think he has instincts I could never hope to achieve.
Like a cat's.
He's got cats like instincts. Oh, that's good. We should work with him on making a shirt. Fuck yeah.
Before we finish talking about this game, I want to say that this was Daryl Stanley's last game as the Breeze head coach. So I mean, huge shout out to him. He's been a huge part of the Breeze for so many years. It's gonna be different not seeing him on the sideline. And I interviewed you. That was cool.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I was talking with him and Lepler, but really I was just standing behind Lepler while I talked to him like pregame. And yeah, Daryl Stanley said something like, like traveling here, getting on the bus, seeing the field, pulling up. It just doesn't feel like it's going to be my last game. And I was like, oh my God. Like that was like, gave me chills. I mean, obviously it didn't end up working out, but that was like the most baller thing I've ever heard someone say.
Maybe he meant it in the sense of like maybe he'll take next year off and then he'll just come back.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, he's still coaching Pony, right? So it's not like he's
Wait,
Truck.
hanging
He
up
is.
the.
I
Or
think he's also. I think
Truck.
I think he's not coaching Truck.
Oh, he's not.
from what?
He might be coaching UMD. I don't know.
I feel he just strikes me as the kind of guy who like would take a break from it and then would be like, well, what do I do now? And then we'll just, I don't know, figure out some way to coach in some capacity. But I don't know the guy. But
On the
Remember-
stream, it sounded like Lepler was just talking about like why he's stepping away, and it sounds like he's got like a business to run and some family and things, and he's trying to like dedicate his time to other things. But I think you're right, Andrew. I think everyone loves this sport. That's the reason why we're talking about it and playing it, and people why they coach it. So, give him a year or two, he'll probably be back. I wouldn't count him out just quite yet.
Who knows? Maybe he'll have a great fucking time, and it'll be like when I think about this, like the commitment of being an AUDL player and being an AUDL coach is the same. It's the same commitment, if not more, because you're probably thinking about the games a lot more.
Yeah,
it's insane. It's insane. You give up so many weekends of your life to go to like fucking Montreal, like for no reason, like or it's just it's so much time. And if you have like a family and significant other, friends, like you're giving up so much to play this sport. It blows my mind, honestly, that these people also do club and do AUDL and other things. And like, how do you do all of that? It's the dedication is crazy. And I think that goes like unrecognized. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot that goes on with being a coach. I understand his feeling of probably being like, you know what, I got other shit in my life that needs attention. So who knows? I don't want to pretend to know what he wants to do with his life, but it's a crazy commitment.
Hey, shout out Daryl Stanley finishing with a sick hold percentage.
Yeah, way to go out.
Hell yeah.
69%.
For our Spotify listeners, at 69% for the DC Breeze against the New York Empire,
which is the sex number. All right.
Nice.
We are
It is
done
funny.
recapping. Let's pre-cap.
Yeah.
Why isn't that a word?
Recap? I love
So
that.
good.
It's our
So
word.
good.
We're pre-capping it.
Can I P-cap right now before we
Yeah,
do the
you can
pre-cap?
P-cap and then
I got
we'll
a P-cap.
Pre-cap.
All right.
There we go.
Hey,
It's on the screen. Pre-cap.
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 Time for a pre-cap.
Subscribe.
Subscribe. What do you guys think about? What do you guys think about these games? Like, when you think about the games, like what thoughts do you think?
Yeah, that's a really good question.
I've got a bold thought. I
Okay.
think the Empire's gonna make it to the championship. I think they're gonna beat the Soul.
Okay. Well, here's maybe a more get right to it way to phrase it. Do any of us not think it's gonna be Empire Shred and the Empire are gonna win?
No, I think that's gonna happen. I think
Okay.
I think that's a lock. I'm locking it in.
I'm really excited for Empire Soul. Even if I think the Empire are going to win, I keep saying the Soul are going to lose and being wrong. So I might be wrong again. Who knows?
Fair enough.
But I'm really excited for that game. That's going to be a lot of really good Frisbee players on the field at one time.
That game's gonna be like great vibes to be drunk on the sideline for. Like those two teams, especially because like, I mean, the Empire are gonna be locked in, but we can fool around with Nunez, and then the Soul are gonna be rowdy as they always are on when I've watched them online, but not quite as excited to be wasted on the sideline of Shred Wind Chill, but I'm sure that'll be fun too.
I think it'll be a good time.
I hope the Soul game is first, because if the Soul game is first and they lose, then we just get to drink with the Soul guys in the stands of this game.
True that.
Which
Yeah, that's a good point.
Which, like, don't forget, these games are like 2 hours long, so like that's a lot of time to drink.
I will say, Ryan, let's not jump to conclusions, because I saw Elliot Moore tweeted at us like, "Oh, so we're hanging out."
Oh, the Jake Radak
like,
thing.
And then Jake Radak commented, "Nah," and then he deleted his comment. So I am all kinds of confused. I don't know if we're hanging out with Jake or not.
He loves me. He loves me not.
Yeah,
I don't know what to think anymore.
I big brained it here, and I interpret it as Elliot Moore is like, let's hang out with the Ring or the guys. They're sick because we're awesome. We're super fun. And Jake Radak's like, yo, we are not losing Friday night. We're not hanging out with the Ring.
If we're hanging out, that means we
night.
lost. Yeah.
That means we lost. We're not losing. We're winning Saturday. So he's like,
that's fair.
Nah.
I'd like to think about it as it's my fault that I keep saying that they're going to lose, and now the Soul hate us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should probably pump the brakes on. Yeah, like, let's go. They'll lose so we can party with them. Like, you know.
Prove us wrong. Like, that'd be sick. I'd love for the
I would love
the Empire to lose so
even
much.
more.
Please
yes,
don't win.
Right? Yes.
Please,
there's
something about their vibe.
I put a lot of money on them.
Shut the fuck up. Well, boohoo. No, dude, if the Empire lost in the first round, oh man, the vibes might be too weird, man. Honestly,
no, it'd be sick. I
think
so? Weird.
Because okay, the Empire people would not be fun to hang out with, but like if they win, we're not hanging out with them anyways. They're not going to be fun anyways.
No,
but then
I don't know
Saturday,
about that. We're friends with a lot of those guys. I don't think they're going to hang out and drink with us, but I think we're going to be able to see them and chill with them.
They care about their bodies too much.
But they're so serious and frisbee and serious.
I've played beer pong with Ryan Osgaard before, and we're
that guy
be
is
in
a fucking
Minnesota,
cheater.
where Minnesota rules are actually applicable. We can't call him a cheater in Minnesota. Those are actually the rules there. You're allowed
House
to
rules.
just cheat at beer pong.
Yeah,
in Minnesota, you're allowed to do whatever you fucking want in Minnesota.
Oh, we got to play
Minnesota
common
rules.
courtesy with whoever loses on Friday and play with them Saturday morning.
Definitely.
Easy.
Definitely.
I mean,
done.
Yeah. Do we have anything like to say about these games, or are we just more focused on who we're gonna drink with? Which personally I'm fine with, but
that's what matters more to me. But let's not gloss over Shred Windchill too much. This could.
Well, sorry. Are we gonna throw some Ryan's lines out on here?
Oh, we have to.
Or do we want to talk about both games before we do that? I think that's a good idea.
Yeah,
let's talk about both games.
All right, Andrew, sorry to cut you off. Keep going.
No, I didn't have anything to say because I don't know. I honestly, I have barely watched the Windchill all season, and the Shred. I mean, I don't know. Which game do you think has the potential to be closer? I guess that's kind of a Ryan's lines question, so maybe I won't go there. But like, can the Windchill beat the Shred? Is there a world where that happens, or is it just like a foregone conclusion? Like, what do we think?
I think the Shred really got to fuck up. I just don't think the style of play that the Windchill have relied on all year can compete with what the Shred have done all year.
I think offensively, they can't keep up. I think their defense is a defense that's pretty well suited to play the Shred if the Shred just like don't change their play style at all. Like they always have people in the end zone. They have two people going up for some of these hucks, and the Shred are pretty huck happy, but they're efficiently huck happy. So I don't know. I mean, I think the Shred aren't a team that if they throw it deep and it keeps getting blocked, they just keep shooting it deep. I think they just change their play style, seeing that the Windchill have two people deep every time, and they're just going to fake it and create mismatches on the unders because they're good enough to do that anyway. But I do think that the Windchill have a good defense and can compete on a defensive level, but I don't think their offense is competitive enough to stay even with the Shred this whole time.
Yeah, I mean the home field advantage would have to be
that's true.
Special.
That is true.
But I mean, in terms of like this game versus that game, I think it's like that. I don't see it a single way that the Empire lose in the first round.
Minnesota lost by 10 to the Summit.
Yeah.
That was when Minnesota was traveling though. Like, but also
True.
Yeah. So how much can you put into that? I don't know, but it's all we have to look at, really.
Yeah.
really, it really is.
I think Soul Empire will be fun.
Oh yeah, I think it's gonna be a super fun game.
Yeah,
I think if you like forget about the score of that game, there's just gonna be highlights. Like, cause I don't think the Soul are gonna give up. So I think third quarter they could be down 6 or something, and like they're still just kind of playing out of their minds or throwing up some shit, and like Kyle Hankey's doing something crazy. So I think it could still be fun.
yeah, for sure. So, something
I
that we
even
kind of
think it could be close.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could be too. And something I want to say that we kind of glossed over with the Aviators game, but the Shred got Joel Clutton back, and I remember the start of the season, it was like, oh, that's kind of a big loss for them. Like we were just the way we are talking about it on paper, we were kind of down on the Shred, and then like he immediately made an impact. I mean, he won an end of quarter play for them in the last game, so like having him back is just like that much more makes him that much more dangerous. So
Yeah.
just want to throw that out there. But yeah, I'm gonna put my money on the Empire and the Shred here, guys. I don't think that's I think that's an easy.
Are we previewing a potential finals matchup too?
Let's
Should we do
pre-cap.
that?
Are we gonna pre-cap?
Let's
Well, if
recap
since
these
we're
games.
talking about this as such a foregone conclusion, we might as well look ahead to Empire Shred, what we think would happen.
Yeah, I think the Empire are gonna win again.
I agree.
I might agree.
I also agree.
I think it's going to be closer than it was last game. Even though last game New York was on a back-to-back traveling out to Salt Lake City, I do think the Shred have been watching this tape, like their coaches specifically, over and over and over again, and been like, how are we efficient? Where did we lack? What could we do on defense? We're going to bring both these teams bring the intensity, which gives me more confidence in kind of what it's going to be.
Think about the spikes we're gonna see if that's the championship game.
Oh man.
Think about Ben Yacht. I'm so excited.
It's gonna be great.
Oh my god. Frisbee
Ben Yacht in
tools are
front of
gonna
the
be
home
like, this
crowd.
isn't the Frisbee I fell in love with.
Yeah, it's way better.
Yeah. It's kind of a home game for some of these New York guys. I mean,
Yeah.
Ben Yacht, Ryan Osgar. Is Ben from Minnesota, or did he just go to school there?
Yeah, he's
I
from
think
there.
so, yeah.
Yeah,
homecoming.
I think we have to factor in the New York guys who are coming home and they're gonna sleep at their parents' house and their parents are gonna cook them a home cooked meal.
And
That
tuck
just
them in.
tuck them in. I mean, all of that, like that just makes you play better. Like,
Oh, for sure.
come on. Compared to like these Shred guys are gonna be like in a fucking like Holiday Inn eating some like Holiday Inn eggs that are like just like probably like a egg powder that you mix
Holiday
in
Inn
water.
powder.
Yeah, and it's just like their tummies are gonna be hurting maybe.
Their Holiday
I don't
Inn
know,
coffee's
man.
not gonna let them poop. Like, they're gonna be stuffed up.
Yeah, it's gonna be not gonna be pretty. So that's my like big brain analysis there.
The egg factor, the tummy factor.
Tummies. People don't talk about how your tummy's gonna feel.
Yeah.
Going to a Frisbee tournament in general, not friendly to the old tum tum.
The tummy. Yeah.
Yeah. Frisbee players are unkind to the tummies. Yeah, anything else? Do we want to do some Ryan's lines here?
Let's do some
Ryan's
lines.
Ryan's lines.
All right. Let's start with New York Empire against the South Division champion Austin Soul. We are gonna set the line at New York minus 4.5.
Empire, please. Empire.
Austin.
Just remembering what they did last championship weekend, I think I have to go Empire, please.
Me want Empire too.
All right.
Am I
There's
the
a
one picking the
podcast
Soul?
voice. You sure are.
Fuck yeah. Dude, The
sorry, just want to say Joe and Ryan are officially eliminated from first place.
Oh
Wait.
wait, did I say Empire? I meant to say Soul.
Oh, okay.
No,
I do-
I stick Empire. I just want to pass Alu. That's all I care about.
I want
Fair
to point out. I want to point out that you guys all disqualified yourselves from hanging out with Kyle Hinkie because he DM'd us and was like, "I'm only hanging out with the two of you that picked the Soul to cover."
Well, I said
I
Soul
didn't
the
see
whole
that.
time. I said Soul.
All right, you switching
So-
back?
I also picked the Soul to cover. Hold on.
No.
Yes,
No,
last week.
No. Oh, yeah, you did, and Sam didn't. But then I did say that Sam actually spent real money on them, so I feel like Sam should be absolved. And then
Yeah.
then Joe didn't actually pick for himself, so I don't know. I feel like we're all in the clear, but
Joe, who are you picking this week?
Empire.
Okay.
the slope, the slamper. The new Austin.
I just want everyone to
Empire.
have fun.
All right.
Okay.
Ryan, give us another line. We've got Salt Lake.
All right, next. Next up, we got the Salt Lake Shred versus the Minnesota Wind Chill. I'm gonna go Salt Lake Shred minus 4.5.
Another one.
Yeah, I really don't know what to do with these games, so I'm not really gonna put any effort into it, and just 4.5 seems good. You know, seems good.
Yeah, fair enough. Give me
Give
the
me
favorite
Minnesota.
again.
Give me Minnesota at home. Give me Minnesota at home. I'm
All right,
not
I'm
waiting for
taking
anybody
Shred.
else to go. I'm taking it.
Sam, what did you say?
I said Shred.
Well, Andrew, you can go.
Fuck. I need to pick wind chill.
Andrew, you
if
gotta
I-
stick with your.
Well, you can
Stick with your
agree with
system.
me on one to tie.
and
Yeah,
then we
stick with your
we,
system.
we duke it out in fisticuffs.
Right.
Okay. I
Well, no,
want to pick.
We're gonna put a line on Empire Shred.
I think the shred is going to come out like firing on all cylinders. I think they're gonna donk the wind chill. That's I don't know.
Yeah, gotcha.
Gaming the system be damned. I'm gonna pick the shred.
Right.
I'm also going to pick the Salt Lake City Shred.
All right.
And with that, we're gonna move on to the championship game because we're here. Why not? Let's throw Ryan.
No, let's save the line for like later. We don't
Yeah,
know. We don't know yet.
When's
We don't know.
later? We literally we
Saturday
talked
morning.
about this saying we
We'll be
assume it's
together.
gonna be Empire Shred.
Well, yeah.
Well,
That
we
was our
should do-
recap. That was our
Don't
precap,
count
though.
your eggs before they play frisbee, man.
We should do the
Make
Rhines
a-
line for the championship game, make a big deal about it, and do the Rhines line like on Saturday morning or something.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll get some players on to give us their picks too.
A nice
Because
YouTube
we
short.
don't,
Yeah, it'll
we
be like
don't
college
know.
football game day.
Soul in the finals.
That'd be good, Joe.
Shit! Make the biggest deal out of the Rhines line,
Mhm.
and it's like, yeah. Oh yes, baby. Yes.
Yeah.
Also, Ryan, like your line might
Ryan's
change.
lines.
Yeah,
Your
good
line
point.
would change based on how these games play out too. I feel like, you know what I mean.
Yeah, someone could get hurt.
My lines are always
Knock
perfect.
on wood.
But the line
All right.
today, it'd be perfect
I'm
Okay.
sure you're right.
Because that's Ryan's lines.
Ryan's lines. I'm open.
Ryan's
Subscribe.
lines.
Open. Ryan's lines. I'm
Anything
open.
else?
I'm open. Subscribe to shop.beultimate.com.
Mm-hmm. Do we have any other sponsors?
Oh, are we gonna see Mr. B Ultimate at Champ Weekend?
Oh,
I hope
probably.
so.
We should talk to him and be like, sorry, dude. Sorry, man.
Please give us our families back.
Yeah.
We should self-immolate in front of him.
I don't know what that means, but I'm in.
It means to light yourself on fire.
Oh god.
I'm open.
Yeah,
I'm
fuck
open.
it.
I'm open.
I'm open.
I'm open.